Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really focusing in on the Champions League semifinals, specifically that first leg action.
Yeah,
You're probably looking for a quick but, insightful take on it all.
makes sense. There's a lot to unpack.
Exactly. So our mission today, pretty simple. Pull out the most important bits from those first games, give you a really clear overview heading into these massive second legs.
Absolutely. And looking at how those first matches unfolded, um, what really stands out is the delicate balance of power, you could say.
Okay.
It wasn't just about the score lines, was it? It was more about the subtle advantages, the kind of psychological platform being built for round two.
Right, okay. So if we're boiling it down then, what were those key strategic approaches we actually saw? Any particular tactics dictating the flow?
Well, what's fascinating, I think, is how teams approached away games versus home games. It was quite different.
Mm.
We saw some, clearly prioritizing defensive solidity on the road, really aiming to maybe snatch that crucial away goal.
Right, the classic smash and grab. Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. While others back at home were definitely more expansive, trying to build a proper lead. Take that team that got the slender 1-0 away win.
Yeah.
Their whole setup, it felt like it was geared towards keeping it tight, getting that clean sheet, and just waiting for maybe one single chance.
Interesting. So for someone listening, maybe they didn't catch every single minute. What were the pivotal moments or maybe individual contributions that really shifted the momentum?
Yeah, good question. Often connecting it back, those moments came down to maybe a bit of individual brilliance in a tight game or capitalizing on a mistake, a defensive slip.
Always costly at this level.
Always. Think about a late winning goal, for instance. It obviously changes the score, but the psychological swing, it's huge for the winners.
And leaves the losing side with some serious thinking to do before the return.
Definitely. Raises big questions for them.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Those tight score lines. Did our analysis suggest anything about the likelihood of comebacks?
Yeah.
Overturning these deficits in the second leg? Are there historical patterns here?
Yeah, look, the data does show teams down by one goal, especially if they're playing at home in the second leg. They've got a decent shot, a reasonable chance.
Particularly with an away goal in the bag.
Exactly. That away goal, even without the old rule, it just feels incredibly valuable still, psychologically at least. But a two-goal deficit, especially with no away goal scored, that's a much, much steeper hill to climb.
Right.
I mean, we've seen it happen. Of course, it's the Champions League. Miracles happen. But statistically, the odds aren't great.
So it really sounds like this first leg wasn't necessarily about landing knockout blows then. More strategic positioning, setting things up.
Precisely. That's a good way to put it. It was about gaining maybe just a subtle edge, wasn't it? Getting a feel for the opponent under pressure, seeing how they react, and maybe most importantly, just avoiding a complete disaster. Stay in the tie.
Damage limitation almost.
In some cases, yeah. And that first leg, it gives the coaches so much information, they'll be poring over that, looking to fine-tune everything for the decider.
Right, okay. So this initial look, this deep dive into the semifinal first leg, it's really just given us a taste, hasn't it?
Appetizers served.
Yeah. The opening moves, the initial probing. Now the stage is properly set for what could be some really dramatic second legs.
And the beauty of this competition, even the absolute smallest advantage, it can be magnified massively in the return game if you get the strategy and the execution right.
Absolutely. So for you listening, the big question to mull over now is, thinking about these first leg results, the strategic spots we've discussed, what specific tactical tweaks do you actually expect to see in the second leg?
Yeah. Where will the key battles be fought?
Yeah.
Exactly. What's going to ultimately decide who gets to that final? It's all poised for a thrilling